All right, welcome to the Season 1 Sport Ball Power Rankings. I'm Bardo. I am the commissioner of the league, and with me is Julian, who is the assistant commissioner / does all the work for the league. For those of you who don't know, Sport Ball is a new type of league with persistent teams and Pokemon contracts, and we're going to see how it goes. So let's get started with the first team, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we're going to start with the Vermilion City Zippy Zaps, coached by Zach, who we already know is the worst team in the league because they've already lost.
Only team with a loss.
The only team that's lost so far. They're currently in last place, which no other team can say.
At least they have one thing going for them.
They got one thing going for them, all right?
So one thing
Okay,
that
so
I realized when I looked at the team, Aegislash is the only Pokemon that resists Rock, Fairy, Poison, and Normal. Like, this thing has to carry the team.
I mean, Aegislash is good, but not like a world beater in this format. So I
Yeah.
know that everyone worries about rock weaknesses. That's people's main concern about teams. So having that be the only rock resist is not great. For me, in this format, the things that I'm looking for, I think terrain super important and terrain control is important, which Zach has none of. Speed control is important, which I don't see a lot of.
I mean, the first three Pokemon are pretty decent at that. And I guess the
Yeah,
Aromatisse.
right. I mean, I like Aromatisse as kind of a sleeper, trick room
It's a
Pokemon. It
great
can't be
Pokemon.
it can't be taunted, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, Aromatisse is good. I mean, it's a solid, lower tier fairy type, but I don't know how much Zach really wants to be in trick room with the rest of his squad being on the faster side.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
team is not too
Cresselia is
fast, so he
solid.
can definitely in specific matchups, I guess he could set it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team has a lot of offense. Thundurus hits hard, although better in a max format. Blastoise can do some damage, but I think again better in a max format. I love Dragonite in a non-max format, and I think he's thinking about dropping Dragonite, so I don't think that's a good idea. Blaziken can hit hard. I love Tangela as sort of a sleeper Rage Powder user with Eviolite. I think this is a pretty balanced team overall. It just, I
Also,
don't know.
the
I don't
Rage
think it
Powder
does anything
helps
well.
with the speed
Yeah,
control. Like, you don't need to control speed if you just redirect the attacks. It can definitely help with that. Um, about the Dragonite, I also think it's like the only Pokemon I don't like on the team. I don't know what I would exchange it for, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But even if he doesn't trade it next season, he can just get something else, so that's nice.
yeah. I don't know. I'm a Dragonite fan. I've lost to banned E-Speed in the random ladder too many times to not
Beautiful.
respect what Dragonite can bring. Um,
What's your opinion on
with
his long contract Pokemon? Like the core he has going with the Thundurus and
yeah. So
Blastoise?
Thundurus, I am not a fan of without Max. Not having a good stab flying move, I think, hurts it a lot. I mean, Defiant's great, but Dragonite can't be intimidated anyway. So who are you really looking to intimidate that much?
Basically the Blaziken, but that also
Basically,
can
yeah,
run
Blaziken.
specials, so
Yeah, I mean, I think this is sort of an average team. I wouldn't. We obviously haven't seen the rest of the teams. We probably should have, but we haven't.
we will soon.
Yeah, I tend to be a little cautious in my early PR rankings. I'd say this is like a 6. This looks like a second or third place team, but I would be surprised if this team made the playoffs.
Yeah, my biggest concern is, like I said, the four weaknesses that only Aegislash covers. But apart from that, it looks pretty decent. I think Thunderous is better, like you make it out to be, because it's just super flexible. But yeah, the missing flying step really hurts it. I guess you can
And
go like Power Herb Fly in some situations, which could be funny, but that's about it.
yeah, I also think like if the other team has Abomasnow or Vanillux, you're in for a bad time because I see a lot of ice weaknesses here.
Yeah. I mean, you can disable the hail with the Prankster Rain Dance, but that's about it, I guess.
But then you're bringing Prankster Thundurus, and I think if you're bringing Prankster Thundurus, you're losing a lot of what you kind of need. Like you need Thundurus to take kills on this team because who else is taking kills besides Thundurus, really?
I mean, Aegislash deals a lot of damage. Cresselia, not Cresselia, Dragonite and Zoroark somewhat. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I
see
don't know.
it often probably needs to be offensive.
Yeah, I think it just doesn't have enough damage, doesn't have enough control to run a control game. So we'll see. Maybe Zach will surprise us.
Yeah, there's still enough games left even after the first loss. So let's go to the next one.
All right, let's do it.
The
All right.
how's that
Mono
pronounced?
Mallard
Fuchsia?
gets a 10 because he's in first place right now.
So true.
I mean, so just at first glance, this team looks super balanced. Roach on Wash bangs. I think Galarian Zapdos does what you want Thundurus to do, better than Thundurus. You know, a good Trick Room setter in Bronzong, okay Trick Room setter in Dusknoir, and then good Trick Room Pokemon, regular Darmanitan. This team looks really solid to me.
I really like 2 Trick Room setters on the team with the Rhyperior and Clastria. Like, the biggest concern here is the Ghost weakness. Like, everything else is perfectly covered. It just has a lot of Ghost weakness, but that's pretty much it. The team looks really strong. Has a super strong, fast support with Persian and speed control. Makes up for nothing else being above base 100. And also the 2 Trick Rooms, obviously. Yeah, I think the team looks really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if we see a better Trick Room mode than Bronzong, Glastrier, Rhyperior on any team. And then on top of that, he has fast Pokemon as well with Persian and Zapdos. And then Rotom Wash is just a solid anchor for any team.
I also really like his long contracts, like the Zapdos and Rotom, the 2 ground immunities. That means he can't just grab any fire and steel type, whatever he likes, because he has the ground weakness covered already, which is
Yeah, I
kind of
agree
nice to
completely.
have.
I think, even in season 5 of those contracts, having Zapdos Galar at 18 and Rotom Wash at 17, I don't think you're going to be upset about those. And I don't think those are Pokemon he's going to cut ever.
Yeah. I mean, currently his steel and fire type are there for 2 seasons, but yeah, it's just nice to have the ground immune core.
Yeah, I mean, and Roserade is not like the best grass type, but Roserade's good enough.
It's pretty good, and the special attack stat is so high. Like, if you hit with grass and poison, it's a huge threat, even though it doesn't have the most coverage.
And then, Sylveon and Bronzong are good Steel and Fairy. I don't think having a dragon is super important. So I like this team. I like this team a lot.
He has the highest average defense and is tied for the highest average attack, which is no surprise with Rhyperior on the team, which carries a huge weight for both of those stats, but that's pretty decent averages.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we'll see what the other 2 teams show, but to me, this looks like the division winner so far. It's going to be hard to beat this. I'd probably give this a 8.5 or a 9 even.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go that high, but we need to look at the rest first. It's really hard to judge,
And again, I mean, I think we're kind of I personally am getting a little bit skewed by comparing it to the previous team. Like,
True.
Just taking a step back, like it doesn't have any terrain. It doesn't have, fast tailwind. I think, for division games so far, that looks like that won't be necessarily a problem. But once you get into playoffs and you start playing other divisions that maybe went weather heavy or terrain heavy, you might run into some problems then.
Yeah, true enough. Well, making playoffs is already a good thing. Okay, so Audi got the Urshifu single strike. I think he's going to win the division, right? We can move on to the next team.
Yeah, I mean, Odie kind of wins every division, right? That's his thing.
Yeah, at least if he has the Urshifu, he does.
Yeah, and he got his favorite Pokemon. Urshifu obviously is just a banger. He's got Talonflame for speed control, Dusclops, and Azumarill if he wants to go slow. Does he have a grass type?
Yeah, the Tangrowth.
Oh, Tangrowth. Yeah, Tangrowth's fine. I prefer Tangela.
Yeah.
But at the price he got it at, Tangrowth is perfectly
It's decent.
Valid.
I think it's really funny that he has one single non-contract Pokemon. He basically reorgs this entire team with the first draft.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a new format, and I don't know how it's going to work. I think that we're going to run into that problem maybe a little bit more than I initially planned when I was writing the rules. But the second draft should be fun.
For sure. Also, what I realized with this team, sorry for interrupting, it goes from 15 base speed all the way up to 126 base speed. That's a huge gap. like covering most spots in between as well. Always nice to have.
Yeah, I mean the only issue is it doesn't really have any bangers for a trick room mode. I guess Azumarill can be really good in trick room, but he's not super slow.
I mean, Pink
So
Urshifu can deal damage if the opponent is electric weak.
yeah, and I think just having that electric train up just gives you some options. Depending on what you're facing, if you're worried about sleep or Pincurchin can obviously do a lot of damage under electric train.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that we've talked this long and haven't mentioned Landorus I yet speaks to the strength of this team, because Landorus I is a monster without Dynamax.
Yeah. That thing is
Man.
scary.
All right, this team is good too. And they have Meowstick too.
Do you know if his circuitry gets rising voltage? Not that it really needs it. It has such high special attack anyway. I'm just curious.
I don't believe it does, but I'm not sure.
And Meowstic is an amazing support Pokemon. I'm impressed every time I see Odie or someone use it. I don't know. Oh no, maybe I'm confusing Odie with someone else. But anyway, great Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, this team just looks great to me. And I think Odie just beat Mallard in the Ultra Finals, right?
I actually forgot who he played. I have no idea.
I think
Sorry.
he played Mallard. Yeah, I think he just beat Mallard in the finals. So we have to give the edge to Odie here. Looking at his type chart, he's rock weak. Everybody's rock weak. But Urshifu kind of deters rock types from coming out.
Yeah.
That's ground. That's not rock.
Yeah.
He's not rock weak. He's great. He's
oh
ground
yeah,
weak.
Yeah. But the type shot looks pretty good for him. And I mean, even
The type
with
chart
the
looks
ground
good
weakness,
overall.
the 2 immunities is absurd.
Right. He has Landorus. So go
Also
ahead. Use a ground.
Team,
use a ground move. Go for it. This is a great team. Also, this is another 8 to 9 team. I'd probably
easily
have them as the preseason favorite in this division.
Oh yeah, just because it's OT that has Urshifu, honestly. That's enough for me to be the favorite, I think. But let's see if this team is better.
All right, so Junebug coming in with no A-tier Pokemon. So that's something.
But I have to say, it has the strongest, probably, Fire Water Grass core, and they're all on a long contract. Like, building around this every season is super good, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, having Arcanine, Rillaboom, Primarina for 3 seasons.
That's absurd.
Plus Spectrier.
Yeah, such a fast, hard-hitting Pokemon. I think that's the fastest one in the division, actually.
What circuitry speed? Is he slower than I think he is?
Oh, he's super slow. He's like 73 or something. I don't know exactly. Yeah, the fastest was Talonflame with 126. I mean, obviously it's Tailwind, but yeah, like just looking at base speed, Spectre is the highest in the division.
Yeah, this team also looks strong. Good fast mode. Oranguru and Stakataka is a terrifying trick room mode. I think Toxicroak is very underrated.
Great Pokemon. Honestly,
does have some prankster.
I think this is my favorite team in the division. The only Pokemon I absolutely hate is the Wigglytuff. Like, the Fairy is already there with Primarina, and the Normal is already there with Oranguru. Both are way better Pokemon. I don't exactly understand where the Wigglytuff fits in. And I also don't really like the Riolu, but I guess they have a plan for it, because otherwise that's a weird pick in my opinion. But I really like the team.
Yeah, the team looks great. I mean, Riolu has, prankster coaching, and he has Arcanine who can be physical, Rillaboom who's definitely physical, Stakataka, so it can do some stuff, and this is a good team too. I don't know. I'd put it behind the previous two. But this is just a solid team. I know personally how good Arcanine can be in this format.
I think I'm just extremely biased because I like Primarina or Oranguru so much, especially in that combination. And I'm just a huge fan of that Fire Water Grass core.
Great Fire Water Grass core. They're also ground weak. That seems to be the theme so far.
True.
And doesn't have the immunities to kind of work around that like the previous team did.
Yeah, I think the immune Thundurus only gets like Grass Knot if it's a ground type specifically, so doesn't help too much if it's not heavy.
Yeah, I'm not a big Thundurus Therian fan. I mean, I'm not a big Thundurus Incarnate fan.
Incarnate,
yeah, I mean, this is just a solid team.
It's interesting.
So, I mean, my thoughts right now are I feel pretty bad for Zach because the rest of the teams in his division are really good.
Yeah, I have to say I like all three teams more, unfortunately, than the Sippy Saps
Yeah,
in
so I mean,
comparison.
if I had to make a preseason prediction, I'd say Odie, Mallard, Junebug, Zach.
I mean, I like this team more, but like I said, I'm extremely Primarina or Group biased, so I just need to see them next to each other later, probably. Also, I mentioned like the OT that it goes from 15 to 126 speed. Here it goes from 13 to 130. That's funny. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
one step
he has
further in each
one of
direction.
the fastest mons in the format and
Yeah,
one of the slowest mons in the format, and
exactly.
stack attack and nose trick room. So I guess Rayolu also gets fake out, right? So you could use Rayolu to help
No,
stack
no, it
attack.
doesn't. It doesn't get
Oh, it
faked out,
doesn't?
unfortunately. No. What it does get, what I think is funny, it gets inner focus, circle throw to prevent trick room and can't be faked out. It's just very slow, so can always work. But it's an interesting way to stop trick room from the opponent if that's needed.
Yeah, so I think so far the teams are looking pretty strong. I think that the way the draft works, the teams are probably going to be on average stronger than your standard teams in this format, and that's something we can definitely address in the future. Because so far the teams are all. I mean, even Zach's team, I don't think it's a bad team. I just don't think it's as strong as the teams around it.
Yeah, true. I feel like the next draft will also be not as strong because, like you see, there's a lot of each. I don't know where I was going with that. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, because what's going to happen in the second draft is it's going to be shorter, so the tiers dropping is going to become less prevalent than it was in the first draft. In the first draft, everybody made a 10th round pick, so everybody took an E tier in the 10th round.
Okay, okay. That's what I
In
was
the
thinking
second
of. I
draft,
just couldn't put it in words.
everyone's going
Yeah.
to come in with existing contracts, so not
Mhm.
everyone's going to even be drafting in those later rounds when the A's become E's.
True. And the points go also down, which some won't get with a lot of long contracts.
Exactly. I think the teams right now are going to be stronger than they're ever going to be again.
Let me just switch to this screen real quick. Okay, so since we talked about all teams now, should have just done that earlier. So you said Audi first, then
I think Odie is the strongest team.
definitely the scariest offensive wise in my opinion. I agree
Just so
with
much
that.
offense. I mean, Urshifu, Azumarill, Landorus, Circuitry.
Yeah,
That's a lot of offense.
definitely deals the most and scariest damage.
And I mean, I don't think you can discount the fact that Odie loves Urshifu, and he got him, so he knows how to use him.
Very true. Yeah, gotta be interested in the first match against it's
Yes,
the Chameleons, right? That's gonna be interesting.
yeah, yeah. So the Jolteons will play the Charmeleons this week, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they will. They will. Yes.
I think that match will say a lot about how this division is going to shake out.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that match because that's definitely my two favorite teams in the division, I think.
And just real quick, since we have all four up, we have to do a logo rating.
Oh.
I think I think I don't know. They're all good. I think Mallard's my favorite by a hair over Odie.
Yeah, I like Audis the absolute most. I would like Audis a tiny bit more if it wasn't a shiny Jolteon, but I'm a
I
big
agree.
fan of that logo.
Yeah, I'm on the fence, so we'll go with Celadon City Jolteons have the best logo.
Yeah. Team name wise, I like Zax most.
Yeah, Zach, you know me. I'm a big fan of teams named after moves as opposed to Pokemon, so Zach gets a plus in that column.
That's a great name. So, I think we can move on to the next division, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, here we go with Pork Boys team, the Cianwood City
Oh,
Crowbats. Great Pokemon.
yeah. I mean, great logo, great name. Now let's look at the squad. So far, it's looking like a great squad. Another good Firewater Grass here with Incineroar and Torkoal, Jellicent, and Venusaur. Right, so you're basically building the Venusaur team with Jellicent instead of Dusclops.
Pretty much.
The problem with Venusaur in this format is he can't max, right? So he sort of becomes a sleep powder bot in
Which
a lot of
Butterfree does
ways.
as well, but even better in my opinion.
Right, Butterfree does the same thing. So this is a team that is going to have to play a game of who's wearing the safety goggles. So I wouldn't be surprised if this team lost a lot of game ones and then pulled it back in the rest of the set.
Yeah, I have to say the double up with Butterfree and Venusaur feels weird to me. Like I like Butterfree a lot, but it feels weird on the Venusaur team. You just basically force your opponent to bring safety goggles every game, and you can never catch them with a steep powder or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you see Venusaur or Butterfree against you, you're putting safety goggles on something that you care about.
Yeah. And probably a Lumberry somewhere as well, just for good measure in this matchup specifically.
To double up on it, absolutely. Another team that's ground weak. Yeah, so I mean, I think this is a solid squad. I think they might struggle a bit with offense. Butterfree gets Tailwind, right?
Yeah, it does. Also, I like the Solar Power Heliolisk here. I didn't realize until now. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, Heliolisk is a great Pokemon to throw on a Sun team. I used him in Season 1 of I mean, back then it was Rillaboom when I had Venusaur and Torkoal. The only problem with Heliolisk is he's very, very fragile.
Unfortunate. I really want him to set up Sandstorm and bring Sandwhale, Garchomp, and Heliolisk at some point. Huge fan of that. Just dodge everything.
Yeah, I mean, so I think this team is going to rely on Trick Room a lot because I don't think they have a lot of damage outside Trick Room. I think they're going to need Garchomp to pull a lot of weight because it's really the, other than Torkoal, who can be very offensive in the right situation, Garchomp is going to have to do a lot of damage because I don't think they have a lot of damage otherwise.
Yeah, also look at the rock weaknesses. Garchomp definitely has to carry here.
Yeah.
It's the only resist. The ground is also kind of awkward, but I guess Rage Powder, Butterfree kind of makes up for it, for the huge ground weakness.
Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of Butterfree Garchomp leads.
I can see that.
I think that Venusaur and Torkoal is something that you draft and you feel great about it, but then when you actually sit down to team build, you realize it's a little bit harder to use than you thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say they have, Quillfish. So if someone tries to bring rain to counter your Sun, Quillfish can kind of punish that a little bit. I like Quillfish. I think it's one of the better, very low point Pokemon.
Oh, yeah,
it has two good abilities and a good typing.
Decent attack stat. Okay speed.
Yeah, I mean, and then they have two good Trick Room setters in Jellicent and Reuniclus. So I think their Trick Room mode is actually almost better than their fast mode a lot of the time.
Yeah, and with the Cineroar supporting everything with fake outs and parting shots, like setting out Trick Room, getting your sweeper safe in and stuff like that. Like Incineroar fits perfect here, I would say.
Yeah, and Incineroar fits well in the team, other than adding more rock and ground weaknesses.
Yeah, that's true. That's a huge issue.
And I think this is the first team we've seen that's going to have a lot of Pokemon on contract for a long time. Right? They have 2 A's and 2 B's, so that 4 Pokemon core is something that Porg's going to really need to learn how to build around.
Honestly, that might actually be the team with the most longer contracts. I'm not sure, but it might be.
It certainly is so far. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid squad. I think it. I'd probably put it in like the 6 to 7 range, right around where we had Zach. I think it's.
Sounds about right.
I think it's weaker than the other 3 teams in Kanto.
Yeah, he has 5 points left. I would like him to draft to trade something to fix the rock weakness, I think. But it looks really pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean that's a decent number of points left. I mean, you could. I'm trying to think what Pokemon they don't really need. I mean, Butterfree seems right. You can cut Butterfree.
I mean, I personally like Venusaur, but you kind of want it next to the Torkoal, so.
Yeah, you got Venusaur at a decent price on a long contract. Although I agree, dropping Venusaur doesn't seem like the worst idea.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would get rid of Venusaur and Torkoal, but it would be kind of weird to just get rid of all the long contracts. That's just my personal preference how to play. So.
No, I agree. I think that oddly enough, on the Venusaur team, Venusaur and Torkoal seem the most out of place.
Yeah. Though I have to say, the Sun is obviously cool for Heliolisk to have, but yeah. And
again, no terrain, so.
We haven't seen any terrain so far, right? I think that's
Pinkerton
the other divisions. Oh yeah, true, true. Pinkerton. That's very true.
and
Completely
Rillaboom.
forgot about it. Wait, oh, I completely forgot about those. Man, my memory's not great. So, and that's the first weather, though, right?
The first weather, yeah.
Okay, at least something first. So let's go to the next team. Oh, that's a fantastic logo.
So good.
Ah, talking about weather. There we go.
Here we go. Yeah, so I think Milotic and Rotom Heat are both solid. Fire's not a deep type, and I think Rotom is versatile for a fire type. Tyranitar pairs well with Crocodile, I think, because Crocodile can intimidate fighting types and the stuff that Tyranitar is scared of. Excadrill's great. So Fable is sort of Togekiss light to do the old Tyranitar Excadrill Togekiss core. Cinderace at a very, very good price. Trevenant, I mean, I like Trevenant overall. I think he's a little out of place on this team. He's kind of your one man terrible trick room mode.
Yeah, I'm a big Trevenant fan. The only thing it does for this team, I think, is be a hard-hitting grass type, which it kind of needs. Like, it definitely needs a grass type because it has some issues with water. So it fills that role at least. But I'm glad you mentioned the Togekiss because that was also my first thought. This looks exactly like Ladder Team. The Melodic, Rotom, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Togekiss, like the Fairy Director, and then a grass
Yeah, and
type.
then as your Crocodile instead of Incineroar as your Intimidator.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan always to see Milotic on Tita Excadrill teams because those two Pokemon lose so hard to Trick Room, and Milotic perfectly makes up for it while also covering their water weakness. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
really destroy water types, but it at least tanks it. It's like it fits really well on those teams, in my opinion.
yeah, I think Milotic is one of those Pokemon that kind of fits on every team. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid squad. I think Cinderace, the fact that Cinderace is kind of not even being talked about on this team is a good sign for it. I think they're going to have a lot of problem if they run into Trick Room, though.
I think outside from Milotic, the biggest issue for this team is actually Intimidate because you have the Tyranitar, Crocodile, Excadrill, Cinderace, Trevenant. Like they all have struggled with Intimidate if you don't get the competitive on the Milo.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to bring Intimidate when you see Milotic sitting on the field
Mm.
and it's tanky enough to sit there or in the back and
Unless your
you make the
Intimidate
bet.
is like Luxray or something, I guess that could work.
Yeah, but are you bringing Luxray against Crocodile and Excadrill?
Nope, you shouldn't. Also, I have to say I'm always impressed when I see Morgrem. That Pokemon does so much while costing nothing, basically.
Yeah, Morgrim does a lot. I think Cottony can do a lot for 1 point. Um, you know, Cotton Spore, is that what it is? Or
Yeah,
Cotton
yeah,
Down?
Cotton
I don't know.
Spore, Cotton Spore.
Cotton Spore is obviously not as good as Tailwind, but it's something.
Yeah. I feel like Cottony isn't needed on a Morgrem team, but honestly, what will you do with 2 leftover points? So, can definitely work there. Yeah, I like the
Yeah, and I
team.
mean, between one can carry the Sash and one can carry the Eviolite, which means sometimes Tyranitar wants to carry a Sash, so it's going to be hard to bring all those. But I mean this team's deep. I mean I think this is the first team where I think every Pokemon on the roster could reasonably come to almost any game.
I really like the matchup against the Crobat team because you have the Tyranitar against 2 Pokemon that could be what's it called? Sand Whale.
Sandvale.
I really like that matchup already. I looking forward to, and that's the week 1 match, so that's happening sometimes in the next few days.
Yeah,
So
and looking at the pretty good type chart. We talked about the water weakness, but
yeah, yeah, it has the
Milotic does.
Trevenant and the Milotic, so kind of covers that luckily.
Yeah, and then Cinderace goes on the type chart as a fire type, but he's not really a fire
Mm.
type, so you can kind of take him out of the type chart a little bit.
Yeah, I have no experience with Cinderace in this format, so I can't say too much about it. But I mean, it's always a threat with that the high attack and everything being stabbed, so
Yeah, I mean,
it's always too
Cinderace,
much.
I think, is another Pokemon that's better in a max format, right? Because he gets
Mm,
relatively
for
fast
sure.
stab airstream, which you don't get in this, so he becomes a little bit more of a high jump kick. Pyro Ball bot, but it's still a Pokemon that's fast and hits hard.
Yeah, truly. Does this team has
Yeah.
really reliable speed control? It has like Electro Web Rotom. Oh, well, Sandrush, I guess, is speed control. And then Morgrem.
Yeah, so he has what X-Drill speed, X-Drill Sandrush,
Like, it has somewhat speed
Electro
control,
Web.
but not the most. Oh, and obviously Ice Wind Milotic. It has like slow speed control, but yeah, definitely usable.
And Cottony gives you some speed control if that's important to you.
Yeah. Like, if it's needed, you can definitely always just slap that on as the 6th Pokemon or whatever. Yeah, that works. Okay, I guess we can move on.
And then, like you mentioned earlier, when you have a good redirector like Clefable, you don't need speed control as much.
Yeah, Redirector always makes up for it, and since this can't even be safety goggled, it's perfect. So, what would you rate it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of established a high mark with the Kanto division, so I don't think this team's quite at that level, but I think it's probably a little bit better than the Crobats. So in the 7 to 8 range is where I'd put it.
Yeah, sounds about right. I think I like it a little bit more than the Crobats. Less like weird doubling up, even though it has the multiple ground types and stuff. But yeah, I definitely like it. Let's move on. Oh yeah, I have to point out real quick. I chose some of the logos in Microsoft Paint because I didn't want them to be empty because they weren't created yet. So this is not the
Well, this
actual
one looks
logo.
fantastic.
This is just a filler. Thank you very much.
If
It is
Ilya doesn't
fantastic.
if Ilya doesn't use this as his base, then he's doing something wrong. All right, so I know Ilya went in with a plan, and that's to get good support mons on the long-term contracts and then fill in his damage with short-term contracts.
I
And
think
kind of
that's a
looking at it,
fantastic strategy.
I think it's a fantastic strategy too. So to get, Tornadus and Gothitelle on long contracts, I think that's great. I'm not the biggest Gothitelle fan, but I know that I'm sort of alone on that island.
Yeah, I like Gothitelle, but I'm not that high on it. I feel like the huge Gothitelle fans somewhat overhype it a bit, but maybe I just haven't seen it perform on that level yet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that Perish Trap is as good as some people make it out to be. I think it's great on the ladder when people aren't expecting it, but if you prep for it and see it on game one, you kind of can work around it.
There's a lot of Pokemon that learn U-turn and Volt Switch.
Yeah, so I mean, so looking at the squad, they don't have a fire type. They have a fairy type. They don't have a fairy type.
Well, no fire, no fairy. Okay, that's actually. Oh, well, that's Mawile, so it's a bad fairy type.
Oh, Mawile.
It's
a
a really
bad
bad
fairy type.
Yeah, barely counts.
and a bad steel type.
Damn, both for the price of one.
Yeah, so Dracozolt, I don't know if Dracozolt was counterpicked to, go against the Tyranitar team, but I think that's a decent option if you see, you're going to be facing that Sand team, although Dracozolt doesn't love facing Extra.
Yeah, it's still slower, unfortunately.
I know that Ilya with Nihilego is scary because he hammered me in the Season 2 luxury finals with it.
Oh yeah, Nihilego can be a really scary mon if you know how to use it.
Yeah, I mean, Umbreon's another very scary mon. I'm a huge Excelgor fan. I mean, I think this is a solid team. I don't see a real direction for it.
Umbreon's gonna love the matchup against the Sun team. Will shine there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team has good speed control. I think that, Politoed plus Kartana is a good way to keep Kartana slightly safer, but, it's not just the fire weakness that's the problem with him. It's that his special defense is terrible against all special attacks.
Yeah, you will probably be running Assault West a lot. I mean, I'm such a huge fan of Katana on ladder, but in draft, I just can't seem to make it work, and it just has like also no coverage basically. Bring the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think
6
that
moves or something every time.
I think you could say the same thing about a lot of Pokemon with 4-time weaknesses in draft. They're not as good in draft as they are on the ladder. Kartana, Landorus, Tyranitar are much better on the ladder.
Additionally also doesn't have a deep move pool, is what I mean. But I agree with you. 4-time Pokemon can be hard to use, but also not a lot of. Like, it lost Tailwind and Knockoff this gen, which hurts it a bit. Could definitely help
And
the
then
draft.
I mean, I know that the type chart doesn't say it, but to me, this team looks pretty fire weak. You're gonna, if someone turns that rain off, you're
Well,
gonna
I
be in
was
a
about to
bad
say,
situation.
you have the Politoed, but if that gets shut down, could be an issue.
Yeah, another ground weak team. And Tornadus isn't like Lander's Eye that's going to punish ground types for coming in. It's just going to set tailwind and then just kind of be annoying. It's not bringing a lot to the table offensively, although it gets Hurricane with rain. So
yeah, that's a
I
nice
think this team's
combination.
going to rely a lot on maintaining weather control, which is good in theory, but maybe harder to do in practice.
It never really wants to set Trick Room, right? Like, I don't see any Pokemon. Like, yeah, if the opponent's team is faster, you could set Trick Room, but you just have a better Tailwind setter, right?
Yeah, this team. I mean, if someone's bringing Trick Room against this, you're basically relying on Umbreon to kind of stick around until Trick Room ends.
Yeah, this can definitely work. I would not be able to play this. I would probably just go 0-5.
Yeah, this is not a team that I'd be comfortable using. So we'll see how it goes. But I think this is probably in like the 5 to 6 range. I think that there's the base for a good team, but I think this is a team that could be a lot better next season than it is this season.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Because Tornadus is going to be Tornadus no matter what. He's never going to not do good things for your team. I just don't think that Ilya necessarily has the right support around it.
And like some of the Pokemon, you just need to get Dracosalt or Katana or Neligo in the right situation, and they will just sweep. But if they come on at the wrong time, they just die in one hit. Like, I think this
That's
can be
exactly
really
it.
hard to pilot this team.
I agree. I think that this is a potentially good team, but you need to get yourself in a good spot.
I also
Or
like
just
the
perish trap everyone. I don't know.
It could work. Definitely could work.
Yeah, I mean, I love Excelgor. I don't think that anyone in this division has terrain so far. So if you don't have terrain, Excelgor is kind of subpar.
I mean, it's still basically the fastest one in the division, and there's a lot of special attackers that can make use of the what's it called? The thing that drops special defense by -2. Acid spray? Is that what it's called?
Acid spray. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like this.
The problem with Excelgor is that it's very frail, right? So if you need to put speed EVs in it, it stays frail. The nice thing about Excelgor is if it can get Unburden off, you can make it bulky and fast.
You just get Unburden off with the sash, easy. You can combine both, live a hit and be even faster.
I don't know why I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, okay, let's go to the next team. That's the Burn Towers Sacred Fire, piloted by ND.
Right. So this is the last team in this division, right?
Yes, correct.
All right. So we got Heatran, Tentacruel, no grass type?
No grass type. And the only team without a weather in this division. But the only terrain in the division, right? Yes. No weather but terrain as replacement.
No weather but terrain, yeah. So Indeedee Male obviously can slit throats, but he's not fast enough to do it on its own, right? So you're going to see a lot of Togekiss being a follow me bot for this team because Heatran can put in work if it's protected. Indeedee can put in work if it's protected.
Yeah, the flying redirector for Heatran is pretty great.
Yeah. I guess Latios gets Tailwind.
It does, yes. And Icy
Or it's
Wind as
that's
well.
Latias, right? That's the good one.
Yes, it's Latias.
No A tiers on this team, so this team's going to turn over a lot. I think Hitmontop's a great intimidator in this format, although Indeedee plus Hitmontop is not necessarily the best combination. Who's his Trick Room setter for?
It's only Mr.
Mudsdale.
Mime. Well, Indeedee and Mr. Mime both.
Oh, right,
That's
Indeedee
3
can set
psychic types. Oh my god. Let me look at the dark and ghost weaknesses here. Doesn't look horrible, actually. Oh, I forgot that Indeedee is a normal type, so yeah. It's only dark,
yeah,
but
Indeedee's
for dark
immune
he
to
has a
ghost.
Togekiss, which also redirector. Yeah, actually not too bad. With 3 psychic types, I expected worse. And like
yeah, so I almost feel like this is like the opposite of Ilya's team, right? This team looks easy to pilot, but maybe doesn't necessarily have the power to do what it wants to do.
Oh, also because it had no weather, but there's Licky Licky for the Cloud9, so that's the weather counter here on the team. Almost forgot that part.
So Licky Licky's the poor man's Altaria, is what you're saying?
Well, it's not double ice week, so it has that going for it. I lost to Licky Licky before, okay? It's scary to me. Because I forgot it gets Belly Drum. Honestly, Belly Drum Licky Licky in Trick Room could be fun.
I just don't see how this team gets Trick Room
same.
off effectively, right? Because you can lead Togekiss and Mr. Mime and go into Trick Room, and then what? Your opponent just doesn't kill either of them unless Trick Room run out.
Yeah, I don't think Trick Room will happen ever. Well, not ever, but it's very unlikely. Also, triple fake out. That's interesting.
With Indeedee.
Yeah, that's one of them, of course. Yes, Indeedee is one of the 3. Oh, by the way, this team. Wait, let me check. I know it has. Yeah, there it is. It has the highest average special defense on, like, overall 16 teams. I mean, there's a Togekiss and a Latias, so I can definitely see that. And the Hitmontop, yeah. That's so specially bulky, that team. And even the Psychic Seed, if it ever wants to be even more specially bulky. Like, honestly, you kind of want to attack this team physically, but therefore it has the Hitmontop at least.
Yeah, and
yeah, that's pretty
Togekiss can, like you said, redirect away ground attacks, which Heatran doesn't like, and
so you kind of
Tentacool doesn't like.
For Heatran specifically in a lot of situations.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid team. I'd say probably in the 6 to 7 range. I'd probably, let's fill up all the teams from this division.
Oh yeah, we're done, right. That's Shoto. There we go.
Yeah, so my preseason prediction would be Radiance 1, Crobats 2, Sacred Fire 3, Polytoads 4.
Yeah, if you don't have a good plan to counter the Radiance team, which shouldn't be the absolute hardest because there's a lot of overlapping weaknesses, but if you don't have a good plan, Radiance should just run through them.
I think so, yeah.
Solid. But yeah, I like the Burn Tower Sacred Fire, but that's also a team. It looks just weird to me because of the triple psychic types.
Especially since you have Incineroar and Tyranitar on, I would say, the 2 better teams in the division. So this is not a division that doesn't have good dark types. And Umbreon. So there's a lot of dark types here.
Yeah.
And then
Indeed, doesn't really have good. It gets Hyper Voice, I assume, so at least something to it that's not immune.
But yeah, I mean, Indeed, gets Hyper Voice and Mystical Fire and Dazzling Gleam.
Yeah, was just Dazzling Gleam. Okay, so it can hit Dark types. Okay, that's nice. At least something.
The problem with Indeedee is that if it sees Wide Guard, it's pretty much useless.
True.
All right, and then logo rankings. It's tough to turn down. It's tough to turn down Vomiting Entei, but I think Bell Tower takes this pretty easily.
Yeah, that's one of the best logos in the entire league, in my opinion. It's just so clean. Fantastic logo. So I assume the Burn Tower Sacred Fire is your favorite team then because of the move name?
No, I think no. My favorite logo is the Bell Tower Radiance.
Sorry, I meant the team name. The name, sorry.
Team name.
Yeah.
I think the best team name is the Scenewood City Crobats. I like the alliteration.
Yeah, it's nice. I think I also still like the Bell Tower Radiance. But yeah, the Crobats are a nice team name as well. So let's move over to the what's it called? The Hoenn? I don't know how it's pronounced. Division.
I say Hoenn. I don't know.
I have no clue. I usually always pronounce it differently because of German, but yeah, I have no idea how to say it in English anyway.
I mean, do the names change a lot in German?
I mean, it's written the same, but so like the Ö, and Ü with the dots over them, the U, A, and O with the dots.
Yeah.
So if you don't have
an umlaut, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have umlauts on your keyboard, you write them as OE or UE or AE. So I always pronounce it as Hoenn because of the, the OE. That would be an Ö if you don't have the umlaut on the keyboard.
Sure.
So yeah, which is definitely not what it's called.
Okay, so first we have the Metagross.
Oh, the mascot pick. I absolutely love it. I think that's the first team with a mascot picked, right? Or did we miss something?
I think it is. I mean, when your mascot's Metagross, that kind of makes it easy.
True.
So, looking at the squad, Rotom-Mow, Torracat, Seismitoad. That's not the best firewater grass.
It's a pretty awkward firewater grass. I do like Torracat, but it just doesn't deal the damage, unfortunately. But it's great support.
Yeah, but Metagross Grimmsnarl Gudra is a very good steel fairy dragon.
But Metagross Scooter. And what is the one I missed? What was the fairy? Oh yeah, Grimmsnarl. Okay.
Grimmsnarl.
I didn't see it, even though it's the first 3 Pokemon. And 2 of them are together on a really long contract. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Metagross Grimmsnarl is going to be a menace, right? Because Metagross is already bulky with good typing, and then Grimmsnarl just makes that better. Metagross is fast enough where Prankster Thunderwave is going to help him out a lot. Plus, they have Crobat, for even more speed control. I guess they have Chandelure also. They have 2 fire types.
Ah, true, yeah. Oh yeah, that's a more threatening offensive fire type. That's cool.
Yeah, I know Seismitoad is like Spade's least favorite Pokemon, but I think he's solid.
Seismitoad is pretty okay.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any rain or strong water types in the division for either Water Absorb or Swift Swim.
Yeah, we'll see what the rest of the division shows. But if someone has Pelipper, I guess would be the range center that's left.
Yeah,
then,
exactly. But like even hard hitting water types that don't have a lot of like other coverage or whatever, just for the Water Absorb is nice.
Right, because it also gets Water Absorb, which is another good ability. On the ladder, you only ever see it with Swift Swim, but it does have a second good ability.
Like most of the team have like one super cheap point Pokemon that's just thrown on there, but this just has all around solid picks. Like, okay, Luxray is the most used and best, but I think it's a pretty good Pokemon.
Luxray's fine. I don't see a lot of times where you're bringing Luxray instead of Torracat.
I mean, you can just bring a Guts Luxray. It has 120 attack. That's a ton of damage. You just need the speed control for it because it's not the most bulky, especially without Intimidate.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid squad.
Yeah, I think this is pretty nice.
I think it's a little bit, off meta in terms of its typing and where it's good, but another ground weak team. Whenever I do these PRs, I'm like, Bardo, you need to draft more ground types, and then I never ever do.
Most ground types are just so bad in my opinion. I always want to draft ground types, and then I realize, oh my god, they all suck and have infinite weaknesses. I don't want ground types. It's so weird.
It's weird. It's a weird. This team does have some good ground types in Seismitoad and Mamoswine, so.
Oh, even 2 of them, true.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good team. I think that the typing's a little weird, so I think that might make prep difficult because everyone's sort of comfortable prepping for the typical starter types, but when you don't really see that, could make it different, right? I mean, this team could bring a reasonable team that doesn't have a fire, water, or grass, right?
At least it doesn't have any glaring weaknesses across all Pokemon, so that's nice. Pretty balanced weakness-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a solid team, probably around a 7, I would say. I think this is a team that could do a lot of damage if it's played well.
Yeah, Shadow is the only Trick Room setter, right? I mean, you don't ever want to set Trick Room. I was just curious.
You don't ever want to set Trick Room.
So yeah, you can only imprison Trick Room because otherwise you only have a Fake Out and no other good ways to stop it. Not that it's necessarily needed. I was just looking over because that's something to consider.
And I mean, and the team is not fast, so it kind of needs its own Trick Room.
I mean, if it doesn't get the Trick Room, the Tailwind up with Crobat, it's nice to have the Trick Room option.
Right. I mean, and Crobat gets Tailwind up, but the problem is that if the other team also gets Tailwind up, now you're in like a 0-sum here. So, I don't know. I think this is a solid squad. Depending on how the rest of the division looks, will kind of change what I think about it. But I think it's just a solid team. It's not.
Not
blowing me out of the water.
It has the highest, tied for the highest average base attack, together with the Monomolats team we talked about earlier. Like here, it has average 100.
And it also has a high average special attack, so it's a pretty balanced team. Doesn't, Gudra's one of those Pokemon that likes getting set up a little bit with a grass move or a weakness policy sometimes
You
because
could
it's pretty
even do
bulky, but
just
not.
a support set with like breaking swipe, acid spray. It gets pretty cool support moves. And in this team, it has the speed because the team has so many like slow Pokemon where you could outspeed to set the acid spray or something
Yeah.
if needed.
So yeah, I think solid squad to start off the. What is
Yeah,
this? What
that's
division is this? This is Hoenn,
yeah, Hoenn, exactly.
the one that we don't know how to pronounce.
That one, yes. So let's go over to the Slate Pod Slackings.
All right.
Just look at the coaches. Just look at the coaches. That's absurd.
So Regieleki. Well, first off, this team has no A or B Pokemon.
Yep, it starts at C, which is really funny.
Starts at C. All right. Um. So we have Volcarona, Serena, and Clawitzer. Kind of an interesting fire water grass there.
Also, double redirection again on this team. Seen that a few times.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
A double redirection. Like we've seen a lot
Oh,
of redirections so far, but I think this is the only double redirection so far.
yeah, I think it's the only double. Looking at the squad, I think Volcarona kind of needs to be a little more offensive on this squad
Yeah.
than maybe on some teams. But I mean, I think that this team has Pokemon that can do damage if they're protected well. Regidrago with either speed control or redirection can do a lot of damage.
Which is both there, so it definitely has what it takes. So the only thing we need to look at later in the division if there's a lot of steel and fairy types.
Right. And then I mean, Bisharp is a solid Pokemon against fairy types, and Volcarona is a solid Pokemon against steel types. But
Certainly.
and I mean, Regieleki is fantastic speed control with lightning fast Electro Web.
And this is what I mentioned earlier. The ground types always all feel so weird. Like Dugtrio, I mean it's fast, but it's just so awkward to use. It has no defenses.
Right. What you can do with
And
Dugtrio though
coverage.
is you can run Band Earthquake next to Togetic and kind of
Yeah.
go crazy.
Damn, I want him to bring like Rock Slide, Justified, Terrakion once and just sweep someone after beating it up with Dugtrio. I just want to see it once.
Yeah, I mean, I think Terrakion's a really strong Pokemon in general, and I think on this team it fits really well. There's a lot of rock weaknesses out there. Terrakion's fairly fast, hits pretty hard, and I think with Volcarona and Togetic and a Regieleki out there, you can put him in a situation to succeed.
There's no Trick Room setup for the Clawitzer, right? I mean, it's not the slowest mon, but it's usually too slow for
Does
just...
Purloin get Trick Room?
No, it doesn't. Purloin is good, I like Purloin, but unfortunately no Trick Room.
Yeah, I don't see Clawitzer coming a lot on this team.
Yeah, that's not good. Like, Water type is probably my biggest issue on this team. That it's not like a bulkier one or just something different.
Yeah, but I mean, they have Terrakion and Dugtrio
Yeah,
for opposing fire types and
true.
rock types and stuff. So, yeah, I
Reggie,
think it's a pretty solid squad.
Regieleki obviously skews that a lot, but this is the team with the highest base average base speed. But I mean, it's hard to beat Regieleki anyway.
It's hard to be, but I mean, Volcarona is pretty fast. Terrakion's
Yeah.
fast. Dugtrio is very fast. But yeah,
It
Regieleki
is a
definitely
lot
skews
of
that.
-100. Interesting team. I would not want to play this.
Interesting team. I'd say maybe a little bit better than the previous team, but it's close. I think it's so far looking like a competitive division.
Yeah, I agree with that from what we've seen so far. No weather, no terrain. So let's see if this trend continues here.
Yeah, is the last region going to be like all the terrain setters?
Probably. Honestly, most likely, yeah. So, the Meteor Falls Salamancers.
Another team with no A's or B's.
What is this division?
All right, so what do we got? We got Whimsicott, Alolan Marowak, and Gyarados. I think that's pretty solid firewater grass.
I agree. I'm a huge fan of the Lightning Rod Marowak for the Gyarados. That's super nice to have.
Lightning Rod, yeah, that's great. Obviously they have Porygon, so getting Trick Room up for Marowak is not going to be a problem.
Mm. And also, it has decent enough speed that it can actually do some things in Tailwind at least.
Definitely. And then it has for Ferrothorn. This is a good Trick Room team.
For sure.
But it also has Whimsicott, so I mean, frankly, Whimsicott also learns Trick Room, right? So leading Whimsicott with a mid-speed Pokemon, you can kind of go either way. Like, if the opponent looks like they're going fast, you could even lead Whimsicott Gyarados in Trick Room.
True. I'm a huge Mienshao fan. I'm super glad to see that here.
Yeah, I think Mienshao is just a great, solid support Pokemon. Anyone who watches Spades videos knows how good Piloswine can be for E tier in 1 point. That's like a probably steal of the draft so far. Yeah, I mean, I think this is another sort of just solid, but maybe not fantastic team. So far, this is the division I'm going to want to watch the games the most because I think they're all going to be competitive.
Trying to figure out if there's anything important we missed. Yeah, that's just the Raikou
Huge
and
fight,
a lot of
huge,
damage.
huge fighting weakness though.
Oh, true. I mean, at least it has some resistances, but damn. Oh yeah, also one of them is Ditto, so
Right, but even still,
yeah, still an issue.
yeah. So fighting types,
Fighting
not
times
something this team wants to
is
see.
actually bad because you don't have the flying step with Gyarados. You
That's
would
exactly
really
what I was
want
thinking.
that here.
And the only stab they have to hit fighting types is Whimsicott's Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam or whatever.
Yeah, at least that deals some damage. But yeah,
Yeah, I
fighting
mean,
could be an issue.
fighting could be an issue. There's not a ton of good fighting types, but a lot of
Yeah.
Pokemon obviously carry close combat.
I'm
So
pretty
that's really
sure the last two teams we covered didn't have a fighting type at least. I don't know about their fighting coverage, but they didn't have fighting types, so at least.
yeah. I mean, fighting's one of those
something there.
types that you don't need, right? Because the best fighting move has wide distribution. You don't
Oh,
need
yeah.
a fighting type. You just need close combat.
Honestly, the reason why I like fighting types is stab, close combat, and rock resist. Those are like the big reasons why I like fighting types.
Yeah, and
Stab,
I
close
think
combat is
that
just on a whole nother level, but yeah, the rock resist
I
really
think the
helps.
reason so many teams end up being rock weak is because nobody drafts fighting types because you don't feel like you need one, and
Yeah,
it's one of the few types that resist rock.
true. Yeah, that might be it. We didn't see a lot of fighting types. That's probably the reason. True.
Yeah, so I think another solid, mid tier 7 point team or something.
Yeah, I think I like this one most so far of the division, but hard to say. We will soon when we're done with the
Yeah, we'll see
next
at the
one.
end. But my first thought is I agree that this looks like the strongest so far.
Yeah.
Speaking of fighting types, here's Conkeldurr.
Finally a fighting type. This is, by the way, the
and
only team
and
that did a trade so far.
and Cobalion. So this team has good fighting types to
Just stockpiling all of them.
punish the previous team. Dragapult, can be good. I don't like him as much in a non-max format.
I still have
terrain.
no idea what exactly to expect from Gyro the non-max. It feels so weird. Like, yeah, it has cool support moves and it has decent special move pool, but yeah, I'm not sure what to expect from this. So I'm really
I
looking
mean,
forward
in
to
my opinion,
seeing it used.
Dragapult in non-max really needs Dragon Darts to do a lot of damage. I think that's really its only realistic move to use to really optimize that high base attack.
Yeah. But I mean, if you need the ghost coverage or whatever, you could use Shadow Ball at least. Not great, but that's at least
No, I mean
option.
it has good special moves, but Dragapult is tiered and costed
Yeah,
because he has 120 attack. So then to just use 100 attack instead seems like a waste.
true. Just play mixed. It doesn't survive anything anyway. Easy.
Yeah, I mean if you're gonna run special Dragapult, you should have just taken Gengar.
True. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what he's gonna do with it. I mean, does Cobalion get any spread moves or something? Because I know with Cobalion you can do like the Rock Slide beat up, but Cobalion I think doesn't really have that pressure in the non-max format.
Yeah, I mean it gets Rock Slide. So this is the first team we've seen with terrain and an unburdened Pokemon. So I think that Lele Lipard combo can do a lot of damage. in this division. This is the first team that really doesn't have even 10 Pokemon. I don't think Spiritomb is coming ever. I don't think Skrelp is coming ever.
I think Spiritomb is pretty decent, actually. It can be super disruptive.
Yeah, but the problem with Spiritomb is that you also have Liepard and Dragapult and Conkeldurr. So your team's already very weak, and now you're going to throw Spiritomb into the mix?
Yeah. Okay, if you put it that way, yeah. It's really bad with overlapping types and stuff. In general, I think Spiritomb is good, but on this team, yeah, you're right. It probably doesn't do a lot. Unless you really hard force Trick Room with a Slowbro or something and want to go for a slow game, then it could be better than the Dragapult and Liepard.
Yeah, you need to go in with a really hard Trick Room mindset to bring Spiritomb over the other Fairy weak Pokemon.
Mm.
I mean, that being said, you can run Trick Room with this team. With Slowbro and
Skrelp
and
is a
Conkeldurr. Skrelp is a sweep.
It has adaptability. That's a lot of damage right there.
I was more thinking a slow Nidoking as your sweeper.
I mean, that also works. It's not as fun, but it definitely works.
Yeah, I mean, the problem I see is that you have Psychic Terrain, but you also have Conkeldurr who likes using Mach Punch.
I mean, and Liepard, which also likes Prankster as well.
Yeah, but you just run Unburdened Liepard with Lele and do, just Snarl and Foul Play and stuff.
I mean, sure. That also works.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been saying a lot of negative things, but I do think this is a solid team. I think we'll see in a minute when they're all next to each other, but to me, I'd say this is the strongest team in the division. Doesn't have a grass type or a fire type.
Yeah, I feel like there's some weird type overlaps. If those could change with the 10 points left or something, it could definitely be the best one. Right now, I'm not sure. Yeah, we will see. So should I switch the screen?
A lot, yeah, switch screen. A lot of weird typings, I think, in this whole division.
True.
Yeah, this is the weird type division because I mean, Moss Deep, I think, has weird types. Mirage Island has weird types. Slateport has weird. All these teams have weird types.
Yeah, the Salamancers with no flying coverage for the huge fighting weakness, kinda also weird typing a bit. Yeah, this division is really interesting.
I think this is going to be a competitive division. I think it's tough to rank. I'd say maybe Meteor Falls, Mirage Island, Slateport, Moss Deep. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is the hardest one, I think, to come up with a ranking.
I have no clue. I feel like Moss Deep Metagross might be the most balanced, but Mirage Island Melodic's potentially stronger. Oh, I have no clue. Yeah, I feel like
I think
Metagross or Melodic
really
is
close.
probably one of them. Oh yeah, we want to look at the Regidrago. How do the teams look like? Do they have Steel or Fairy types? Okay, Melodix has a great matchup into Regidrago. Mossy Metagross has the Metagross and the Grimmsnarl. It's good against the Salamanders at least. There's only really Whimsicott, right? Oh, Ferrothorn. Yeah, Regidrago could be awkward in this division.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be smart with it. But I agree. There's a lot of Fairy and Steel because there's like no water types.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that those are such good types because if they were weaker types, people might not draft them. Just skip on them. Take something else.
Right, Regidrago is great except against the two best types in the game.
exactly. Which is very unfortunate for it. What's your opinion on the logos?
Logos. There's no
the
question.
Mirage and Melodic is also just a placeholder until I enjoyed in paint,
Slate,
but it's a placeholder.
Slateport is the best logo in the league, so that wins by a mile.
I don't agree that it's the best in the league, but easily the best in the division. It's not close. Such a fun logo.
Look how jolly he is, Julian. You're not going to beat that.
I think
that's the best team name too.
Best team name
in this division.
I am not a fan of all of them, to be honest. They're all okay, but nothing that like sticks out to me.
Right, but for this division, I think Slateport Slate Kings is best logo, best team name.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. You're right. So let's move over to the, what's it called? Carlos? I think it's Carlos.
Carlos, yeah.
Starting off with Spades and the Dynamite Blades.
All right, so it's Spade's got his feety, so he's happy.
And
So
the
he's got Cray
which is always needed
Yeah.
on his teams.
So he's got Feeny, who's one of the best Pokemon in the format, although it's only on a 1-season contract. Blacephalon is solid. Cradilly's Cradilly. So okay, Fire Water Grass.
Yeah, Blacephalon is not the best defensive fire type. Like offensive, yeah, that's a lot of pressure, but for defensive fire water grass, it's awkward. But you could really
Right, but I'm sure
make Feeny
Spades
great.
is all psyched up for Telepathy Feeny and Mind Blown, right? That's what
Oh,
he's
that's a great
really
strategy.
like irrationally excited about.
Telepathy Feeny is just such a great set. You even have Explosion
Tel-
Silvally if you want to.
Yeah, Telepathy Feeny is Spade's second favorite thing after coaching.
And the Discharge Togenaru, there's everything for telepathy. Everything. Also double Intimidate, damn. He
All right, so
really
he's got
hates
Comfey,
physical attackers.
Comfey plus Policy Feeny. You got 2 good Intimidators. I'm not sure that you need 2 good Intimidators.
Yeah, feels like a lot. Maybe they're really good in this division. We'll see soon.
Yeah, I mean, Tapu Feeny's gonna have to do a lot on this team, I think, is what it comes down to. Because
Yeah.
nothing else does a lot of damage, right? Because Landorus T runs into the Dynamax problem, right? Landorus T has a great attack, but has a hard time using it outside Dynamax.
I mean, with the Telepathy Feeny, you can't just spam Earthquake and it will deal tons of damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
But I
Until
know
some-
what you mean. That's definitely Landorus in non-Dynamax can be weird to use because you sometimes just don't have the great ground stab. Or
Yeah,
flying stab as well.
Noivern's an okay Tailwind setter. This team does not want to see Trick Room.
Hey, Stockpile Credili will carry the Trick Room matchup. Don't worry about it.
Stockpile
It will
Cradilly.
work. Yeah, it will work, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a team built around Feeny, which will work this season. And then I think, honestly, this is no team where their highest cost, highest tier Mon doesn't fit. I don't think Landorus does a lot for this team.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Spades' strategy is to lose all 5 matches, so that will be first pick in the draft to get Feeny back on a long contract. I think that's the best strategy here.
I mean, Tapu Feeny's good enough where it's not the worst strategy.
Yeah, just lose the first season to win all consecutive ones. Just have to sacrifice that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid team.
Yeah, I
Type
like
chart
it.
wise.
It's just so nice to have Silvally. It just can fix all the holes. Like, as I said earlier, Blacephalon not the greatest fire type, but hey, Silvally can fix that if needed.
Yeah, I mean, look how many bug resists he has too.
It's just all teams always have like infinite bug resist. It's so sad. I wish the type got a tiny buff. Just a tiny buff.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is a solid team. We'll see what the rest of the division looks like, but I think if Spades' plan is to lose 5 games, he's probably gonna have to work pretty hard at that because I don't think this is a bad team.
I think the team looks really good. I'm a fan so far. So let's see if the others will top it. I forgot this logo. It's beautiful.
All right. So, given my history, this team gets immediate negative points for Indeedee Female and Katerini. That's instant failure in Bardo's experience.
Well, you see,
This is
the
no team with-
Indeedee is just there to spam Expanding Force after Driftgrim sets the Tailwind. The Hatterene is just a distraction.
Yeah, no, I love Indeedee Female. I think Katarina's the problem in this. But the problem is that this team also has 2 of the better fake out Pokemon and Psychic Terrain, which I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a great fit, true.
Durant without Dynamax is not good.
It barely costs any points, so I can forgive it if Wordhate just really, really wanted a steel type. Though it still doesn't survive any special attacks.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team seems very fast, but also has a good trick room mode with Gigalith and Hatterini and Gastrodon.
Mm. Like if Trick Room gets up, this looks really strong.
Yeah, this is a good trick room mode. It's not the best one we've seen, right? But it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I think in terms of speed control, this team's probably close to the top in terms of how much and how effective the speed control is.
And then the
I just
the
think,
redirection on top of all the speed control.
right. I think this team's going to struggle a little bit to do damage.
Yeah, 96 average attack isn't the worst, but also there's the rent that can miss. Special attack,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't really count Durant. I mean, I
yeah.
guess you could run wide lens on him, but then he's
It's sad to see Zard without the sun. That also loses a lot of damage that way.
yeah, like all of his damage basically.
I really like Komodo though. Like if you dodge the fairy types, that Pokemon can do a lot of work. So many different things it can do. Like even Iron Defense Body Press. It's really fun to use. And 3 good
Yeah,
abilities.
yeah. I mean, the problem I think is that there's nothing on this team that's deterring you from bringing fairies.
Yeah. That's the one issue for the Komodo, unfortunately. Does
Yeah, so I
Raichu
mean,
help out with Lightning Rod in any way? I guess it protects the Drifloon and Charizard. So at least some value from the Lightning Rod there.
yeah, I don't think this is necessarily the right team for Raichu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say this team compares okay with Spade's team. I probably like Spade's team a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of this team, but it's more like it's all Pokemon that are weird to use for me, like Charizard, Kommo-o, Drifblim, Gigalith, Hatterene, just all Pokemon I don't know how to use properly, so I can easily super misjudge them here.
I think this looks like one of those teams that is going to be able to do what they want to do. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do what they want to do effectively.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Only 4 bug resists, so
Oh,
that's an
damn.
issue.
Which will easily lose to all the good bug types in the division, which are probably none. So, moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. The Charlotte City Slurpuff. That's the team with the highest average base stat total of all the teams. So we're about to
Sure.
see some
I
high
mean,
stats here.
all right. At first glance, this team again has weird types, but looks fantastic. Coco with Hawlucha and Alolan Raichu. I think that's tough to beat. It's got, a couple Pokemon that can set Tailwind. I mean, not the best Tailwind setters, but, they're bulky enough to hopefully get it off. Vanillix, obviously, is a menace.
And Latios can even set it really fast if needed, if it doesn't get faked
Yeah,
out as well.
and Corviknight can set it also.
This,
Um,
none of those
Entei,
Pokemon set Trick Room, right?
I'm looking for that. I'm like,
Because like Snorlax and Wishiwashi kinda want Trick Room. At least
yeah,
Wishiwashi kinda needs to, because if it gets hit, it kinda sucks. Oh, no, wait, it transforms at the end of the turn, right?
yes.
Okay, okay. So that's better at least. Oh, Wishiwashi is also where all the base set total comes from. The 1 pointer adding 620.
Yeah, this team looks great. I guess the draft dried up with the common types, but without having a water, I guess they have a water type. They don't have a grass type. But when you have Tapu Koko and Alolan Raichu, you don't necessarily need a grass type.
I'm a tiny bit confused because I see 3. Oh, the levitate for Ladias I forgot to add. Okay. I was about to say I see 3 ground immunes with the 2 electric types, but yeah. So the summer is just wrong. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
even
think
the
this is a
double
solid
electric isn't
team.
the worst. Yeah. Double normal, that's something you don't see often.
And they're 2 good normal types. I mean, Diggersby
Definitely.
is fantastic under
Mm.
Tailwind.
Yeah, that's one of the perfect examples of a Pokemon that's fantastic under Tailwind. It's just so strong and hard hitting.
hits very hard. I mean, stab ground is, as we've seen so far, always fantastic given how many teams are weak to it.
Even without tailwind, the base speeds 130, 118, 110, 100, 110. That's
Yeah,
absurd.
I think this is a fast team, and it can get faster. This is a team that is okay setting a slower tailwind.
Yeah. Honestly, that's maybe just what the Snorlax and Wishiwashi is for, because this team has a hard time stopping Trick Room if they don't like double up or something, probably. So if it gets up, you just bring your Snorlax Wishiwashi while
Yeah,
Trick Room is up.
no, I like this team a lot. I think
Fast on both
this is
sides.
like a eight or so, I'd say.
Yeah, that looks like a really strong team. I like it. So, and that should be the last one of the division.
Lucian with his weird ass team name and logo per usual.
uh,
All right, so Celesteela, I think is a great first pick. Just a all around solid Pokemon.
mm. Another weather and terrain team.
Got Moltres, Amoonguss, Dracovish. I think that's a pretty decent fire water grass.
And Thwacky.
And Thwacky. Oh, right. Two great grass types. This is where all the grass types are.
Just stole them all. I
I
think
mean,
it's so cool that you got all three of the Kanto birds.
all three birds. That's fantastic, especially since his team's called the Legends.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I'm a big Zapdos fan. I was a tiny bit disappointed that Zack took Thundurus over Zapdos. It was probably the right decision, but I just like Zapdos more. But yeah, that way they all ended up here, which is better.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zapdos is markedly better than Thundurus in a non-max format.
It's just so nice to have Roost, honestly. That's so much value. Rain would be better on this team just for the Hurricanes instead of Sand. But hey, Sand Duel about the Draco Wish is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you have to be ready for. Scarf.
Wait, you're kinda cutting out something.
Yeah, sorry, it's getting a
Ah,
little windy here.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
Even Manectric with all the electric weak bird Pokemon.
yeah, I mean, and Celesteela, I think Manectric is going to be really important to this team.
Oh, I totally forgot. He also has Celestina, so 4 flying types. That's amazing.
4 flying types.
Yeah, look at the ice weakness. Look at the huge ice. He has no resist and 4 ice weak Pokemon. Oh my god. If you now count freeze dry,
And the
that's
previous team
5.
has Vanillix.
Yeah, that's a rough matchup.
That's a
That's
rough matchup.
And like, even
And
if
I
you
mean,
want to get rid of the hail or something like Blizzard's less accurate or whatever, Hippowdon has not a high special defense and also is ice weak.
the funny thing is he has 4 flying types, but his ice weakness is only one of those flying types. So 3 of them are ice neutral.
That's amazing. Yeah, this is really funny to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a solid team. I think it has a lot of different things it can do.
The team looks so weird, but it's probably pretty decent.
Yeah, and Lucian's a good player, so he knows how
Yeah.
to run stuff.
Yeah, he will make it
Or,
work. Like, if there's someone who can make this weird stuff work, it's definitely him.
yeah. Yeah, so I think it's a solid team. I think it's another eight or so team. I think it's the strongest team in the division, but let's look at all 4 of them
Yeah,
to
I
be
feel
sure.
like this team you need to prep a lot to not just get overrun by ice types or something. But it definitely works. So there are all the teams. Oh, he even has 8 points left? I didn't see that in the overview. So he could change
That
some things
is,
up.
yeah. I mean, Gardevoir. We didn't even talk about Gardevoir. Gardevoir is good. Every Pokemon on that team is good.
I've never used Gardevoir, but I mean, just fairy type. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is another strong division. I'd probably say Vanderbilt first, Scholar City second, Anastar third, Dendemil fourth.
Um, I don't know. I really like the Denimal, but there are some weird picks. Like I'm not a fan of the Neumann and Placephalon. The speed is kind of important, but they feel a bit out of place to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to probably agree with you there.
And then best logo is Shaller City by a mile.
I mean, there's two paint logos, so the choice is only between two, basically. So I have to agree with you.
Well, even when they get their real logos, that one's going to be tough to beat. That's a really great logo.
True, true.
And team name, I think that Spades takes it with the one that I came up with, the Dendemil Doublades.
I'm a big The Blade fan, so wouldn't matter what the city is. I just like the Pokemon, so very biased there. That's also my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a strong division. So I think the strongest division is the first one. I can't remember. Was that
Let me
Kanto?
try to pull them up all together. Can I do that? Um, Give me a second. So, no, a bit less. Sorry for this. I forgot to prepare that. Okay.
All right. So I think Kanto is the strongest division. I think Fuchsia, City, Celadon, and Cinnabar are the three best teams in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kanto was really strong. I think I also like Johto a lot. That was also a pretty nice division. But yeah,
Yeah, Kanto's the strongest.
had some absurd
Johto
Pokemon in the Kanto division.
Johto's good. I think Hoenn the weakest division. And then I think Kalos and Johto are close, but I think I like Kalos a little better.
There were a few weird Pokemon combinations on the Johto division that can definitely work together. I just don't see it yet. But yeah,
Yeah.
sounds about right.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Maybe we'll put together an actual list at some point because we weren't prepared for that. But
Yeah, should have prepped more, but we can't just do that at some other point and add it to this or something.
yeah, so just remember that Julian's in charge. So if you have any problems with this, message him,
Oh
not
no,
me.
oh no, I don't know the rules well enough. Please don't.
All right, and good luck to everyone. It should be a pretty interesting inaugural season.
Yeah, I'm really hyped for some of the matchups. The teams look so cool to each other.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and I think a lot of teams kind of drafted for each other, so it should be interesting fights.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, yeah, just drafting for each other makes it so much more fun to see the in-division battles.
All right, so we'll see you in the chat, guys.